Hey, good morning, everybody. Well, I guess it's morning for us here in Denver, but it might be afternoon for some of you all. Hope you're having a great week. Hope you guys have something maybe fun planned for the weekend and you're able to tune in. I apologize, our last video ran a little late and I did get some feedback that people would rather it run late than cut out and miss important information. So I'm going to kind of compromise, and this is going to be about part 2 of what we were talking about last week. So got a little bit of a review of last week if you missed it, and then to add in some more stuff, because this is a really important topic, and I want everybody to be able to gain as much as they possibly can from it. So if you could do me a favor, when you sign on, can you do me a favor and just tell me where you're tuning in from? I'd just love to know where this video is reaching. If you all are signing on for the first time, I am Sarah Williams, blendedrawmama, and I have recently embarked on this health quest, following my own health problems, and I've decided to use my knowledge to help other people. And honestly, the texts, the emails, the calls, the whatever, the messages, all the different things that people send are just so rewarding. So keep them coming. I love to know that what I'm saying is helpful. And of course, I'm always open to suggestions to see how to tweak things to best fit you all's needs. So I'm just going to give a couple more minutes for people to sign on. And while I'm doing that, I have to apologize. I totally spaced on uploading this last Friday's live. As some of you all knew, I was actually leaving for a trip with my husband to celebrate my 30th birthday. And hey girly, and I was actually leaving pretty soon after that. We didn't end up leaving until like 8 o'clock because there was some other things that happened, but it was a pretty sad day for me, and so I just appreciate everybody reaching out and just giving me love. Again, so relevant because I'm talking about depression and Candida, and I was having a pretty nasty bout of depression right around my birthday. So I'm happy to report that I'm coming out of it, though. So I appreciate those of you all who are praying for me and just reaching out. It's really been appreciated. So, all right, let's get started. So I realized that after my last video, I was a little vague on this whole concept of Candida. And the reason for that, there wasn't really any reason behind it. I just realized kind of that I glossed over it, and I don't want to gloss over it because it's really, really important. And I don't want people to come, and of course I'm going to make mistakes and I'll totally own up to those, but I don't want people to say, oh, hey, Sarah told me this, and my doctor told me this, and then kind of lose credibility. So I just wanted to kind of give a disclaimer that I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose anybody. I just can share my story, and if my story has some parallels and the things that I say work for you, that's awesome. More power to it. I just wanted to make sure that people kind of knew that I can make mistakes. It's like anybody can make mistakes. So if I do make a mistake, I will say something. And I don't think that I was very clear about the idea of Candida. So everybody starts out with Candida, and you're supposed to have it. It's just kind of a part of your natural gut flora. And for those of you guys who don't know, and again, I think I glossed over this and I apologize, but the probiotics is something that feeds the good bacteria that we already have. And Candida, just like anything, just like cancer, different things, cancer is just our cells gone wrong. They were originally cells that were doing fine, but they're now gone wrong. So Candida is basically the bacteria gone wrong, if you can kind of understand it like that. So everybody is born with Candida, or they're supposed to be born. I was not, but that's a story for a different day. Everybody is born with it. It's part of your digestive tract. And in healthy amounts, it helps regulate all of the systems, all of your gut balancing, which of course then is tied to your brain, as we learned last week. Unfortunately, when it's go out of crazy control, that is when we have some problems. And with anything, right? With anything, when you go crazy control, it's not a good thing. And so what happens is it normally coexists peacefully, but there's a bunch of different factors that can contribute to it. taking antibiotics, if you've ever been on birth control, of course, sugar, our sad diet that consists of highly processed foods, sugar, things are packed with stuff that our body isn't designed to handle. If you think about way back when we were hunter-gatherers and we didn't have microwaves and we didn't have all of these different things, and basically it creates an inflammatory response in your gut because your body's not designed to heal or not designed to handle that kind of stress. And so what happens is it begins to weaken your digestion, weaken your immune system, and it will damage your intestinal walls, which then allow these toxins that the Candida give off to spread through your bloodstream and throughout your body. So basically these toxic byproducts wreak havoc on your health. And their waste product is acetaldehyde. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's a poisonous neurotoxin that promotes free radical activity in the body. And it's normally, within a normal functioning body, it's normally broken down within the liver. However, if the process isn't working, hi guys, I'm so glad you could join. Hope you guys have a good day. If the process isn't working, too much of that is being released, and then it circulates through your system, and then it causes unpleasant symptoms. So, going back to Candida and your mental health, I mentioned last week that the Candida actually creates I need to learn how to say this, acetaldehyde, I think that's what it is. Acetaldehyde creates little holes in your digestive system, and it kind of weakens it, and that's what causes leaky gut, because then what happens is food particles and other toxins will escape through. If you think of the intestines kind of like as you're going through, when there's holes in it, it will escape through your intestines, and then that's what makes you sick in other areas. So that is kind of the title of the video is it's all in your head, or is it? Because most people attribute mental illness or anxiety or depression or mood swings or lack of focus or all these things that are in our head, they attribute it with something wrong with your head. I know I did for so long, and it doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do with my gut and my gut being off. And so I was fascinated about that when I finally actually learned that. I thought it was amazing. So if you have poor colon health, so in other words, if you're suffering from constipation, diarrhea, leaky gut, any of these like colitis, like any of these things that are digestion related, you can't have a good brain. And that's case in point. I'm living proof of that, because this past week I ate really bad, and particularly when you're depressed, you just get into this idea where you're just like, screw it, I'm just gonna basically I know that's me. I self-sabotage, and I do things that I know are intentionally not good for my body just because I don't care. Just to be honest. And this last week that I was depressed around my birthday, I ate things that I wasn't supposed to be. I need to figure out how to turn that off. Sorry about that. Again, my notification for my live. I ate things I wasn't supposed to be eating. I didn't necessarily take the supplements I normally take, different things like that. I kind of have a protocol that I follow, and I will talk about that at a later date. But basically, if you think about the fact that you don't have your body's not able to digest, and they're not able to do different stuff, and then those toxins are getting released, and then that's what's causing you to be sick in other areas. So because I wasn't eating well, my body wasn't digesting, I was feeding my Candida instead of starving it, and my tanked. Both of these, my head and my stomach, they both tanked. They flip-flopped, and they were doing horrible. So you cannot have poor colon health does lead to poor brain health, and as well as the rest of the body. It's one of the most important things that you can do is to improve the health of your gut flora by killing the Candida and balancing the gut. And that's so crucial. I want to talk about these guys. I want to talk about these guys right here. You guys may or may not remember, but a couple of weeks ago for my Wednesday Wow, I posted this on Instagram, and it was a little strip. And I basically, I asked, what does this strip indicate? Does it indicate, and I said, not pink or blue, kind of alluding to the whole when people get pregnant, they're trying to figure out what they're having for the kiddo. And basically, then I said, basically, you would find out soon. So these are pH test strips. And my number one recommendation for anybody that feels like they're dealing with anything that could be Candida related or anything like, or just a general disease, is to test your pH. And basically your pH, it looks like this. This is a little strip. It has a little bit of color on this side. And what you do is you want to do it first thing in the morning before you've had any symptoms, or not any symptoms, anything to drink, anything to eat, or anything like that. And you can either basically, like, I know it sounds kind of gross, but you can spit into a cup and then stick the pH strip in the cup, and you're going to get a reading. And anything that's below 7.5 is acidic. And basically what happens is our bodies, again, going back to the sad American diet, it is, our bodies are that are acidic are going to be the people that are on prescription drugs, whose gut balances are not basically gut flora, I should say, not gut balance. Gut flora is not balanced, and different things like that. And what we want is we want an alkalized system. If you have an alkalized system, and again, I talked about this in a couple of lives ago, drinking alkalized water is really, really good if you can afford it, because it does help your body basically stay alkalized. And if your body is alkalized, that means that disease cannot flourish. Cancer cannot grow. Diabetes cannot go. Candida albicans cannot thrive. Nothing can thrive in an alkalized system. And I'll talk more about that later. The other way that you can test your pH is you can also just when you're going to the bathroom, just like you would take a pregnancy test, women, we would just put the strip in the flow of urine, and then you would wait, I think it's like 15, 20 seconds or something for it to come up. And it's going to come up with, again, one of these colors. And the reason that I felt like I should share that is because even though it's not doesn't have to do with the mental side, is just because there's people who are watching and they're like, hey, okay, so I think I have Candida, and how do I get rid of it? It's a process. It is definitely a process, and this is one of the telltale ways of finding out if you do or do not have Candida or any other disease, to be frank. So test your pH and find out, and we'll see. So I wanted to again kind of go back to doing a bit of a review. And if you're just tuning in, again, I'm Sarah Williams, Blended Raw Mama. I'm going to try to make these pretty short. I just didn't want to gloss over the whole brain gut thing, because I know it's so important. And I was just reading an article, and I'll link both of these articles from PubMed, that depression is the #2 illness in the world now. And I cannot help but attribute it to, again, our diet and our lifestyle, just in general, being really, really unhealthy, not exercising and not eating the right food. And of course, some people are naturally prone, and again, people that have weakened immune systems or different things like that are going to have a harder time with Candida. I had a weakened immune system from the beginning because I was born without the good bacteria. So I was born without that balance, and so from the beginning I had a weakened immune system. I don't know how I wasn't more sick. I think because I slept a lot, but that was the story on my blog post. So I'm going to leave it open for a couple of minutes to see if anybody has any questions. And just to kind of recap, the Candida's metabolism byproducts are toxic to us. They go everywhere in our body and they make us sick. And again, going back to my previous post last week, the Candida impairs your body's liver's ability to store vitamin B12. And again, it also pokes holes in your gut, which is responsible for creating that serotonin. So when your gut isn't healthy, your body cannot physically produce serotonin. And the dragon rears its ugly head, for those of y'all who have read my blog post. So, all right, I'm going to hop off here to respect you guys' time. If you all have any questions, feel free to message me or email me at blendedrawmama@gmail.com. Hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you next week.